Hey guys, what's up? Stock Retail coming back to you on a Friday. Hope you're about to enjoy your long weekend, holiday weekend here in the States. For those of you international apes who might not know, but I'm sure maybe you've seen that the US stock markets are closed on Monday. It's a federal holiday here in the States. So hope you all have a great weekend. Had a lot of really good news the last day and a half to celebrate. Going to talk a little bit about that. And I want to revisit a theme I did kind of in a video before I had. Frankly, I've gotten a lot more followers these last few weeks. I think just in all the action that's gone on in AMC, perhaps a few people have found me here. If you're newer here, I was on Twitter, I don't know, 2-ish years before I ever started making any YouTube videos. So I have been an ape pretty much since the beginning. I was in the January run, I was in the June run of 2021, been around the whole time. It's been a long journey. Learned a lot of things along the way. Have a lot of crazy stories to tell. But that's not what today's about. So, for those again who are a little newer, you might not know I'm a bit of a DD ape usually. Got a background in business, got a few business degrees, and so that's usually what I bring. And then sometimes just I hope to be a little bit of a voice of reason, logic, and sanity here too. And so I suppose that's why some of you have come. The rest of you probably knew me from Twitter, and just this is just a chance to talk a little more long form than a tweet. So, awesome news about the Taylor Swift The Eras tour. I had a little bit of a laugh. I think it was the day before the announcement. I'd have to go back in one of my last videos. I think the one from the 28th. So maybe 2 days before the announcement. But I think the last video I made before the announcement, I used that term that I thought we were in a new era. And I was really just talking about being in a new algo, driving our stock price since the conversion and reverse split and all of that. And that was a little more of a bullish take. People tried to kind of come at me and say, what are you talking about bullish with our current price? I'm just talking about future direction, hopefully. We'll see. Go check that video out if you want. Also had a lot of deeper dive on how people manipulate it. It's called like the manipulator. Can the manipulator move the informed investor out of the market? So just check that out if you want to see that. But what I want to talk about today is revisiting something I made again before I had a lot of some of the followers that are here now, and really just coming back to what's Adam's track record. So it says, calling the shots. Does Adam Aron have credibility? You know, is he basically delivering the shots he's been calling, or as the our opponents would like you to believe, is he running this company into the ground? So let's just talk that through. The first thing, I just want to like align ourselves on this idea of credibility. When you have credibility, in fact, you see what I'm saying at the bottom. The top here is just a kind of a quote and a cool picture I found on the internet. I don't even know who this person is that I'm quoting, so if anybody doesn't like that person, please don't judge me. I don't even know who they are. But I just liked the quote, accuracy builds credibility, right? So if you can, in fact, here I'm saying at the bottom, saying what you'll do, then doing what you'll say. If someone says what they're going to do, then goes out and does it, and especially if they do it really well, that starts to be someone who, the next time they say they're going to do something, I'm willing to listen, right? So if someone has a record and a consistent delivery of results on saying what they're going to do, doing what they said they'll do, and having done it well, that starts to be someone who I say, okay, they have credibility. So the next time they speak, I probably can believe that they're going to deliver on what they said because they have this past record of doing it. So that's just, I want to kind of put us in that frame of mind. That's the approach I'm about to take and walk you through a little bit of our history. Told you I've been around a while. So first off, here's a tweet of mine from May of 2021. And I was just, if you don't know, like I tend to live tweet the earnings calls. Some of those turn into like 30 plus, 40 plus tweets because I'm just shooting them out as Adam or Sean or other executives speak. Well, in that earnings call, May of 2021, Adam said they were partnering with streaming platforms to balance theater and big marketing coming on theatrical releases. Hold that in mind. We're gonna come back to that. So he's saying, hey, we're out there working for you as our shareholders. Let's come back and ask ourselves, did he deliver on that result? Well, fast forward a bit, August of 2021. Here was also from an earnings call. Some of this is my language, but I'm talking about what Adam was saying. He was giving us a reminder that he was working on a close partnership with Universal on theatrical windows. And he was announcing at that time that Warner Brothers had said, hey, okay, fine, for all of 2022 and going forward, they were going to have a theatrical exclusive window only, that 45-day window. And you know that everybody else has kind of followed suit since then. Adam was saying he was in active dialogue with every major studio and hearing considerable support in Hollywood. So just think about that. In early 2021, he says, "Hey guys, I'm working on getting exclusive windows for theatrical. I'm fighting for theatrical." This is only barely more than a month after theaters had just opened in my state. We had been on lockdown. So just a month later, he's saying, "Hey, I'm fighting for theatrical windows." That was a time when the studios were experimenting with taking movies straight to streaming. A few months later, we get a 45-day agreement from Warner. We get Universal saying that they're partnering with Adam. I showed this picture of the Mario Brothers on purpose. That was a Universal window. That had a very long theatrical exclusive window because it was doing so well. He was out there working for us. And so far, I would say he delivered on that. Let's look at a little more. In May of 2022, he was talking about having conversations with various movie makers, serious conversations with some studio executives and directors, and he was talking about theatrical exclusives again. And if you don't remember, this is about the time we get Maverick. Maverick has this very long theatrical exclusive window before it ever goes to streaming. And Tom Cruise, attends the premiere at Odeon, which is an AMC theater in London. Start to see okay, a year before that, Adam says he's working on it. About a half a year before that, we start seeing results. Here we start really seeing the results delivering. The guy said he was going to go do it, and he did it. And then, you had confirmation from the studios themselves. This was a Paramount executive. Paramount had done Maverick. So, that's on Paramount Plus now if you have that service. And so he was saying, hey, actually, when we release, Adam got them to try the experiment, right? He brought them to the table. Then they try it, and it's like, whoa, this is really working. Here's a Paramount executive saying, actually, we see that our streaming results are far better when we go theatrical first. So even the industry started to say, well, we do better if we go through theaters, right? And this was another video I had made. I went through this a little slower and showed some more stuff where I was also trying to help you see, especially if you're newer here, that apes knew this stuff. I've got all kinds of tweets from early 21 telling people, Amazon Prime, Apple Plus, all the studios, Netflix, they were going to be putting movies in theaters. I got gaslighted so hard. People told me I was so stupid, and then it happened, right? So there's credibility from Adam saying he was going to go out and make this happen, and there's credibility from some of the apes who told you what was going to happen, and then it happened. Let's keep going. So here was Netflix releasing a film into theaters. He had told us that was coming. Again, it happened. If you didn't see Glass Onion, and I had shared a story too. I actually missed that one in theaters. My wife and I were busy at the time. I think we were traveling when that happened. Typically, let's say the Netflix only movies, I'll be honest, I don't end up watching very many of those unless they just really get a ton of buzz. But even then, I tend to not watch them. This one had gone out in theaters, had gotten a lot of buzz, and because of the theatrical buzz, I ended up wanting to watch it. My wife and I didn't even have Netflix at the time. We had turned off our account because we have so many other streaming platforms. I turned it back on for a month just to watch this movie. So that also demonstrated the power of theatrical. Now, we're just one household, but imagine how many more that worked in. And he had said well before this, a year before this, that he was working on all that, and then it happened. You remember, I'm just kind of reminding everybody, so that's why I'm going quick, and then I'll hit some new news. We saw Operation Fortune. I think that was from Amazon. Yellowstone is not even a movie, right? It's a TV show. So that had come out from Paramount, and they kind of premiered the season, and there were lines out the door for that at AMC's. On the far right, what you're seeing here is it's a little bit chopped, but Magic Mike's Last Dance 2, that was supposed to be on HBO Max only. That came out in theaters instead. And so you can see the track record already on getting people to put product in the theaters and that being successful. Both, Adam was fighting for it. Apes were telling you it was coming. We saw Warner Brothers, this is just earlier this year, saying they don't even want to do direct to streaming anymore. They're just going to do theatrical. We saw Sony, I don't remember the date, and it looks like I cut this off. I think this was in early 2022, maybe the summer even, where their CEO said, this was more recent. Their CEO said, hey, we don't see people becoming global stars through streaming. It really happens in theatrical. This was the older one, I guess 2021, where Sony said, listen, theatrical is at the heart of our strategy. So if you don't think that the studios realize theatrical is important, and you don't realize that Adam was out there fighting for us to make that happen. Some of you like to come at me who and say, this is a guy who you can't be trusted and he's running the company into the ground. I just hope it's really obvious that that is about the dumbest argument I've ever heard. The guy was out there, you know, kind of the old saying, pounding the pavement, knocking on doors, practically begging, but I'd say better than begging, negotiating very well to get the studios to come to the table, and he's delivered. What else has he delivered on? So now we're going to talk about some new stuff, because the rest of what I just did, you could find a whole video on that, effectively talking about, was Adam in the hedgie's pocket? And I was reminding you, it's hedgie telling you that Adam's in the hedgie's pocket. Don't get it twisted. That's just liars telling you a lie. It's bogus. He's been delivering. But let's you don't have to believe me yet. Let's see what else he's been delivering it on. Okay, so here it was in March of 2022, right? A year before it ever happened. This was another earnings call, and you can see I'm tweeting here that he's talking about how much popcorn they sell in the movie theaters. We plan to make it available through delivery and home to home, and plan to sell to-go packages. Well, that's the mega bags, and there was some experimentation with Uber deliveries for popcorn. But listen to the last part. Later this year, now granted it happened into the next year, selling fresh popcorn in mall locations, working on getting into supermarkets and grocery stores. Well, boom, a year later, we had the massively successful run out in Walmart that I think has just not really cooled down to this day, other than obviously maybe not the same launch excitement. But I know we're still buying it in our house, and I know millions of you are still buying it for your houses. So he said he was going to do it a year before. This is like Babe Ruth calling the shot, right? Or, some pick your famous basketball player guaranteeing a win in Game 7. That's happened a few times. Here he is saying, we're going to be putting popcorn in grocery stores. And during all that time, I guarantee you, we could probably go dig up tweets of shortened distorters saying, well, where's it happening? He hasn't done it. It's not going to happen. Guarantee you they said that. They probably deleted their tweets since then. They like to do that one too so they don't get caught. But apes keep receipts. I've got a lot of receipts myself. Guarantee you we were getting trolled that he's not going to deliver. I know we got trolled in particular from, let's say, some elitist accounts. Some of you know what that means. And definitely from some shorts accounts that were saying, you'll never make money on the popcorn. It's a dying business. Meanwhile, any market intelligence firm you can go out and find market research that's talking about how big this industry, how fast this industry is growing. Clearly a success story here. And what's more, what else has he told us? He's told us that this fall, in all likelihood, they're going to be branching out into new partners. So we'll go from those 2,600 doors in Walmart to who knows how many more hundreds or even thousands of additional doors, depending on who we start seeing as new partners. Okay, so he called that and he did it. But what's he done for me lately, bro? Well, you already know, right? I mean, what did we see this week? But I'm going to bring you back to March of 2022, more than 2 years ago. Listen to what he said. People watching and analyzing this company should think hard what a strong management team can do with $1.8 billion in cash. Now, that's not our current cash position, but that was at the time. Intriguing. Follow this, guys. Listen hard. To diversify away from theater industry, but capitalize on our knowledge on entertainment, selling tickets, running business, selling food and beverage. Think about the pieces right there. Entertainment, what's the announcement we got this week? Selling tickets, did you catch that the big deal was they didn't go through Ticketmaster? That Taylor is basically upending the industry of, entertainment venues and concerts? Because they didn't go through Ticketmaster. And did you catch that AMC invested in its website to handle a little more traffic? And you Swifties still ran the thing into the ground. It was hilarious. I got on and was having some wait times and stuff like that just because I wanted to see what was going on. Running buildings. Remember the Zoom announcement? I'm sure we're not done. Selling food and bev, popcorn in grocery stores, candy's coming. Guys, he told you, I guess I said 2 years ago, but there was some talk in 21 as well. So he told you more than a year ago, a year and a half ago, hey, we've got all these properties. We're kind of an entertainment company. That was a big signal there. He was saying, we're not just a movie company, we're going to become an entertainment company. And you've seen it. Metallica, Chance the Rapper, UFC, NFL, now Taylor, Coldplay, all of that has been starting to happen. This one, don't sleep on it. It's really big. Because if you haven't seen some of the articles too that talk through how much of the cut AMC is getting, and then the fact that AMC has the distribution rights, so when other theaters show this concert, they're going to pay AMC a cut. so they can show it. AMC is not just showing this, AMC is basically distributing it and the ticket seller for it. Wild, wild. Pretty freaking cool. And he told you this was coming more than a year before. So you tell me, I ask you, is someone credible if they say they're going to do something and they do something as big as this and as well as this? It's sold out immediately. It's the most pre-sales they've ever had on anything in their 103-year history. But, what role did he really have on that? So there's an article out there. It's behind a paywall. So I'm going to admit I have not had a chance to read the full article. I saw an ape who I generally have seen good information come from. I'm going to credit him in just a moment here, who kind of had gone through the article and shared some bullets from it. But first off, look at this little sub-headline. Taylor Swift's innovative deal with AMC might open the gates for a new genre of direct-to-consumer. That's DTC, direct-to-consumer. AMC bypassed a middleman. Sorry, Ticketmaster. AMC bypassed the studios, sold straight to consumers. Theatrical concert films, even if it angers the rest of Hollywood. Hey, they're on strike. You want to partner with us? Partner with us. Oops, got the animation all out of order. All right, so here's Dade Murphy. He's just, he's a Twitter ape. Seen his tweets for a while. When I share people here, I'm not trying to say you should follow this person. I'm not giving any big advocacy for them, but I also believe credit where it's due. So I got this information from him, so I'm just sharing that he had put it out there. So he says, according to sources, that was he's quoting from the article here. Aron personally negotiated the ensuing term sheet. So if you read the article, you'll find basically Adam and Taylor's dad kind of negotiated a deal here. And I'm going to come back to that. So I told you, he went and negotiated theatrical exclusives. He went and negotiated to get popcorn indoors. Now he went and negotiated something upending the concert industry. Interesting. He told you he was going to do those things. Then he went and did them. What's more, he was silent, right? He didn't tell us this was coming. He was out there busting his butt while he was silent. And some of you were like, bro, when are we going to hear from him? Well, we heard from him and he delivered a whole new business. Let the man cook. That's my point of view. All right, but let's keep going. So the resulting arrangement, cloaked in secrecy, there's that silence. Only 5 theater circuits were told in advance, was announced yesterday. Let's look at the bottom here. Basically, the theater chains can also go directly to consumers. That's what he's opened up. And then actually, kind of one more bonus. Look at the bottom. The article asks, is Beyonce next? Think this is over? You think Taylor Swift is the only thing this is going to happen on? Go back. Go back to this July when he was telling us he was at that concert. There's a picture of him with her parents. While he's been silent, you really think he was doing nothing? He was creating a whole freaking new line of business. I just seriously have no time for people who want to try to tell me he's in Hedgie's pocket. I don't curse often, but I got some choice words for that idea. What does he say? Mother ducking? I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, the point is, he's out there generating the popcorn business, generating this new direct-to-consumer business, generating theatrical windows, and I'm not done. There's more. Okay, but also do some research and find out, not only will AMC keep the cut when we buy tickets at AMC, people are, the industry itself is saying this is something like a $70 to $100 million opening weekend, just opening weekend. That's bigger than a lot of movies. That's just in like 4 days. But take a look at the showtimes. Go on the app. You'll see this is running all the way through November. This is like 4, 5, 6 weeks this is going to go on. We'll see how big does that stay, but all those Swifties who can't get tickets to the first showing, try the second. They can't get that, they'll try the third. Some are going to want to come back. I've had a couple dads come to me and say, yeah, my, kids are going to want to go a few times. It's a big deal. And then, so not only do they get a cut when we go, but people will buy merch. Take a look at the merch out there. People will buy food and beverage. And then, if you didn't see, I want to say, I haven't fact-checked this, but I'm seeing floating around Twitter that between AMC and the Swift family, when the concert is shown at other theaters, that they'll get 57% of the cut. I don't know how much of that goes to AMC and how much to the Swifts, but let's just say that's a lot of money. Okay, AMC doesn't get any cut when a movie shows in Cinemark. Now they're going to get some piece of 57% of it when this thing shows in Cinemark. That's a big, big deal. This is like adding a whole blockbuster movie. I believe in Q4, by the way. Maybe I'll just cover all the math on this because that's more my, I don't know, expertise, kind of forecasting and math and accounting and timing. So I'll cover that all in some other video. I've already started to do some estimates for myself and try to figure this out, all the pieces. But I believe this is like adding a huge blockbuster movie in Q4, but then really making it even bigger because they get a cut of their competitors. The man just implemented a business where he's getting a cut from his competitors. Think about how big that is. Just a boss move that is. All right, but we're not done, right? So I'm just being silly here, flipping the script just to play on that, those chocolate-covered pretzels that you heard him eating in the last earnings call. He said he's going to deliver candy. He said probably at the end of this year or sometime into next year. I'm personally just guessing next year, although I would love, love, love if it would be this year. We need the revenue. I'd love to see that. After everything I just showed you that he said he would do, then went out and did it, and not only did it, but did it with success. I am not going to bet against this man. He said he's delivering us candy. I'm sure candy's coming. So that's coming. What else has he said he's going to deliver on? He said there's gold in them thar hills. Granted, that was him being a little bit, silly, tongue-in-cheek, but he was serious too. He believes we're going to make money on this investment. That hasn't come yet. So I just kind of ask you to place your bets. Would you bet against a guy who has delivered, he said I'm negotiating theatrical windows, boom, we got 45-day exclusives, and all the blockbuster movies have gone much longer than that. He said he was going to distribute popcorn to thousands of doors. We got in 2,600 Walmart doors, and we're getting more partners this fall. He said he was going to expand into new revenue streams. We got Taylor, we got the NFL, UFC, we've had some comedy shows, Chance the Rapper, we've had Coldplay, Metallica. Those three things he said he was going to do, and he did them not only well, but he honestly nailed them. We sold out of popcorn, in all the Walmarts. Walmart itself is loving it. You just watch their Twitter feed. They tweet about us plenty because they know they get engagement. He's created now a revenue stream where he's getting money from his competitors. He said he would do it, and he did it. So I ask you, is the man credible? Or do you want to listen to the short and distorters? Go watch the video I made that says, can the manipulator move the informed investor? You need to understand how these guys work. And I give you academic research and even the SEC's past points of view on that. They're telling you not to trust this guy. Meanwhile, I'm looking at scoreboard, and the scoreboard says he has done what he said he would do, and he's done it really well. That's someone with credibility, in my mind. So, if credibility is making the moves you said you would make, and delivering results. Guy seems like a boss to me. I want to sidetrack real quick onto one other thing. Hopefully you're not hearing my beagle bark too loudly in the background. She's downstairs. I am seeing all over Twitter, perhaps I'll just make this a topic on another video and click into it, just conversation around kind of a fun idea, I suppose. I get where it comes from. This idea of, could we have a representation from retail on the board? AMC is certainly, it seems like, historically unique in terms of retail engagement, call it the householder investor engagement, and ownership of the company. I'm not sure there's ever been a company this large that's been owned to this percentage by the household investor, of which I am one, right? And so I see a lot of discussion, people trying to get their names put forward. In some cases, I believe just, ego scratches, clickbait, really odd. People who are just not even remotely qualified. It just laughably so. So I just want to tell you a couple things about a board. First off, I have served on a board myself. And so I am coming from a place of understanding a little bit. And I say a little bit. That was a very, very small nonprofit, maybe like $12 million a year budget. So that is nothing like AMC. And what I want you to hear too is, well, first let me just talk about how a board should generally operate. Um, you may or may not know the CEO actually answers to the board. So the board is the only group that can hire and fire the CEO. So if anyone's out there talking about voting, Adam out or whatever, those are some of the kind of negative voices. That's not even how it works. Okay. And you might not know also that AMC's board is what's called a rotating board. There are 6 people, I believe, on the board. We vote on 2 every year. So it would take 6 years to roll over the board. Wanda, who used to own a large portion, they were the majority owner of AMC. We got a lot of DD on that. I even did a video once. And I wrote basically a piece, I don't know, in 2021. Anyway, Wanda had instituted that. It's kind of it's a wall against hostile takeovers. It takes too long to take over the board to have the board vote on the people you want in the company. So that's kind of something you need to know. And then the other thing you ought to know about boards in general is what you want is this nice diversity of talent. So for example, if you look at the board, you're going to see people with different connections and different backgrounds. Maybe one person really comes from the financial world. Maybe somebody else, there's someone on there who has more of a brand background and even some connections into kind of the video game world. Take a look. You can kind of see the background of some people on the board. And so what you're going to see is each person brings connections, brings experience, brings wisdom, insight, and abilities. And so the point is you're trying to assemble, think of it like a basketball team or a football team. Not everyone has the same role, not everyone has the same skills. And so you're trying to assemble this team that complements each other. Everybody should complement each other. So then you ask yourself, like, okay, what are we missing? What are the gaps in the board and all that stuff? So first off, I'm kind of laughing because I don't even think this is ever going to become like a real conversation. But what you'd want to ask is, all right, if you feel that the gap on the board is, I don't know, a connection to retail, advocacy, an understanding of the common person, then you're looking for that. And then perhaps you're looking for someone, I would think, who actually understands business. Now, there are a few apes that come to my mind. I'm not going to name them. But I also want you to hear, like, even I'm sitting here, I have 2 masters in business. I worked for 21 years at a Dow Jones company. I was a mid-level exec, managed some large portions of business. And I would just say I'm not qualified. Like, it's just insane if I would tell you that I'm not sure that I would even be qualified for some of these people who kind of have no real background other than they've made a couple of YouTube videos and some tweets and they try to sound smart. Like, please just stop. Just honestly stop. Like, it's just not even worth your time, in my opinion. If that ever gains ground and like there's some huge groundswell and there's a way to vote some genuine, I don't know, those voices of credibility. Let's just go back to that idea. Like, find people you feel have integrity, credibility, and I would hope some qualifications. I know I'm not going to be supporting anybody who doesn't sort of match those. So that's just a few things about how boards work and all of that. Enough about that. But coming back, so if Adam has kind of called the moves he said he would make and delivered results, that's got me feeling happy, happy, joy, joy. Let's go.